honest example. I'm sure some of us have life insurance, some of us do not have life insurance or health insurance, for example. If you do not, you're too young to have health insurance, but people who are old, like a little further ahead in life, they really need to have health insurance because health at the end of the day. But if you generally plot what's the trend, you'll see that people who have health insurance have health, like people who are generally a little aged, or like let's say they are in their like latter half of their lives. You'll see that these are called actuarial tables, but you'll see in the graph that people who are later on in their lives, they have more insurance claims. That sort of things you can plot in a bar chart. Line graphs we saw with respect to our GDP example, our inflation example, where we tracked the GDP and inflation over time. Temperature anomaly, temperature variations as well we can track, right? Like I know I have heard from my mom, who is in mom and dad, who are in Kolkata, that it has been a heck of a summer, and that sort of stuff you can plot. That, you know what, like based on the last 50 years, let's plot what the average temperature has been, or let's plot the temperature, and most likely you'll see that the last 10 years has been like outrageous in terms of climate change and everything. So that's line graphs. Pie charts, distribution of a company's revenue by product category, by region. Like we saw that Maryland, Washington example, where we saw that, you know what, Maryland was the highest contributor, then Washington, and then the rest of the states. Allocation of house budget across different expense categories. Now this, after you start working, will hit home, in the sense that today you do not need to worry about your expense and categorizing them. At one point of time it will, because when I moved out of my dad's place, I realized, oh, you have to pay for your own things. And that's when household budgeting makes a lot of sense, not before. And just to give you a little bit of an example, as a joke here, before I came to this country and did jobs, before that and after that, a significant change happened. Right, for example, I started paying attention to when to turn off the lights and fans and the ACs. But when I was on my pop's sustenance, when my dad was supporting me, I did not used to think about those things, and my mom used to scold me for that. But that's just a joke. But pie charts are important, where you can also track where you're spending your car, your household, your EMIs, your household EMI, because at one point of time you all will buy a home for yourself, and you will not pay entirety of it. You will pay every month a little EMI, estimated monthly interest, and then that'll add up. I'm sorry, come again. There was a comment, I did not read it. Sorry, it went by too fast.
So someone says it's a nice example which you have given us.
Oh, nice example. Yeah, I know. When I moved out of my pop space, I know. So scatter plots. Scatter plots are the relationship. Again, we saw. Well, we did not see example of a scatter plot, but we did see, right, what's the relationship between inflation and unemployment. Generally, it's an inverse relationship. When inflation is high, generally unemployment positive relationship. Inflation high, and inflation high, unemployment high, inflation low, unemployment low. So you'll see a positive relationship. So that sort of stuff you can plot. Um, um, hmm, sorry, sorry, I'll revisit that, because in my mind, if there is heavy high inflation, that means there's a lot of like jobs in the market, people are spending a lot, unemployment is low. So a negative relationship. Whereas when inflation is low, generally it's because there's not a lot of money in the market, and people have pulled back, businesses have pulled back, people aren't spending. Why are people not spending? Because unemployment is high. Just for context, like that's how you should think about economics, or like worldly concepts. um, Histogram, so that sort of stuff you can plot, that you know what, when inflation was this, what was the unemployment, let's plot that. Histograms as well. We saw the distribution of heights or weights in histograms. We saw with respect to our sales across different states, but distribution of heights or weights as well. You can see in terms of, and generally heights and weights, you'll see a normal distribution or a Gaussian distribution or bell curve, whatever you call it, the same thing. Frequency of customer arrivals in a retail store. That's a pretty neat example. Histograms, you'll see that if you are in an emerging nation, like or like in Bangalore, you'll see that people are checking into the retail store much later during the day when they are done with their office. They're coming, whereas midday there might be like mid-aged people or older age people. Early on in the day, there's generally not a lot of people, and that can be shown. That, oh, let's plot the frequency of number of people with the time of the day. And then, but then again, you need to reason. What like why is that? Why is there more people during late in the afternoon and in the evening? Again, we saw bubble charts, we saw area charts, and again, visualization of energy consumption patterns throughout the year. That could be shown in an area chart. Bubble chart, we saw the GDP example, and again, project budget and color indication. Yeah, that too can be. So what can you change in a bubble chart? You can have like x-axis, y-axis. That's two ways of conveying information. The size of the bubbles is another way, and the color of the bubbles. So you can show four different kinds of information using bubble charts, which is why they're so powerful. Like for example, they say, right, if come again, Nandini, sorry, I missed it.
Yeah,
Can you?
so Shovanik, like looking forward to have more session from you, and they are just complimenting you right
Oh,
now.
okay. It went
So
by so fast. Sorry. Cool. Thank you. Yeah, so bubble charts, there are like four things you can show, right? And box plots as well. We saw, right, like mid like 10, 15 to 30-year-olds, 30 to 40-year-olds, 40 to 50, and then by then that's one information you can show their consumption, and then average consumption, higher end consumption, lower end consumption, and so on. Heat maps as well. We saw heat maps with the average temperature across the like northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, and also we saw Gini index. So that sort of heat maps gives you a lot of information. Radar charts we saw, and I think that's the most interesting charts, which was our superhero chart. And I think after that example, most people will not be able to forget radar charts. All right, cool. One final, let's put a pin and then actually drive home the what we learned today. And then I'll go into slicing and dicing, because I saw there are slides down in the stack, but I want to show an example, and later on maybe as well like do real hands-on example in later on sessions.